Well, right now it's gonna try to find a bottom. So wherever it is, either capitulation bottom like those crazy targets at 3,000, but unlikely. It's probably gonna base in that 10K range, 10, 12, 8, 6, like stay like that for a long time. And until the SPX or the Nasdaq could get back those capital flows from commodities, yeah, it could be for the next 2 3 years. It could stay like that. There's probably going to be a violent rally in between that, and usually that's the one that doesn't make it back to all-time highs. So some strong rally that goes up. That's going to define the next swing high low. So we had the high at 65,000. Then it swings. Maybe it's going to go. I don't know how high it's going to go. Let's say it goes to 35. It's going to create a swing low, but higher, lower. And if you could draw a trend line there, that's going to be the trend line that's going to tell you when to get back into Bitcoin.
Bitcoin has fallen by 76% during this brutal bear market phase. However, this decline is nothing out of the ordinary, as we've seen 80 to 85% bear market drops before. Bitcoin whales and market makers continue to add to their leverage long positions, even though it's unclear whether $15,500 was the final bottom. Bitcoin had a rocky first half of the year, but experts still say it will eventually hit $100,000, and that it's more a matter of when, not if. Despite the volatility and recent slumping price, many experts still say Bitcoin is on its way to passing the $100,000 mark, though with varying opinions on exactly when that will happen. And a recent study by Deutsche Bank found that about a quarter of Bitcoin investors believe Bitcoin prices will be over $110,000 in 5 years. The volatility is nothing new and is a big reason experts say new crypto investors should be extremely cautious when allocating part of their portfolio to cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has shown as steady a rise in value over the years as any other cryptocurrency on the market. It's only reasonable for Bitcoin investors to be curious about how high it can ultimately go. Bitcoin bears have been in control since November 11, subduing Bitcoin price below $17,000 on every 12-hour candle. On November 28, a drop to $16,000 shattered bulls' hope that the 7% gains between November 21 and November 24 were enough to mark a cycle low at $15,500. Regulatory pressure has also been limiting Bitcoin's upside after reports on November 25 show that cryptocurrency lending firm Genesis Global Capital and other crypto firms were under investigation by securities regulators in the United States. Joseph Borg, director of the Alabama Securities Commission, confirmed that its state and several other states are investigating Genesis' alleged ties to securities laws violation. As sentiment improves and demand increases, Bitcoin and other quality functional digital assets should recover and appreciate significantly in the coming years. One expert, Patrick Karim of Northstar and Bad Charts, in an interview with David Lin, anchor for Kiko News, believes it will take a long time before Bitcoin can recover and see a new all-time high. Before we listen to his prediction on the next levels that Bitcoin will likely take out, please smash the like button and consider subscribing if you are yet to do so. Thanks for watching our videos.
Well, just to recap, just how chart trading can help viewers understand where they are. This was a chart I did back for Bitcoin. It was crazy. It was a laser eyes. It was in February of 2021. Bitcoin was on a tear, but it was getting super stretched from its moving average. And if you look historically, how far an instrument could get away from its moving average, it's like a gauge of fear of missing out, all that extravaganza. And it was really hard to do this tweet because I was getting a lot of hate. People were like, crypto is the next best thing. It could be, but price action wise, I said, okay, this thing might slow down. So I thought a lot of people would get trapped between 58K to 64K. So let's fast forward to closer today. Time has moved on. So that pretty much was marked the topping pattern. But because of the sideways consolidation, Bitcoin did have a chance to break out and go back to 120K, but it didn't do it. I have a sleep mode line with many valid trend point touches, and the more it touches, the more it's valid, that trend line. As soon as you break below, that's the market telling you there's a loss of momentum, and that's on a log scale. So if you're breaking down from a rising trend line on a log scale, it's a market telling you there's exhaustion. It's tired, and it's starting to falter down. Capital flows are leaving, and this had a chance here again. It tried to go back above that 200-day moving average around 47K. It couldn't do it. And after that, well, we know what happened, right? It broke down, and now there's a huge vacuum here that was identified. It could go down all the way to 12,000. But this is the lesson. Once you've had these type of meltdowns, charts don't V-shape recover from that. When you've broken down 80%, 70%, you need a multitude of time to recuperate. Because remember, there's a whole bunch of bag holders that got trapped at 58, 64K, 40K that bought on the way down.
Right.
Man, they're going to want to break even. They're going to want their whatever, the 10 million they had in Bitcoin. As soon as it starts going back up, oh man, I'm going to break even. It's the mentality now. So all that overhead people that bought there, since the pricing go up, they're bag holders and their future resistance. It could take years for this to move sideways, to evaporate, for these people to give up. Okay, I'll take my loss. I'm out of there. But until that happens, these charts, these patterns, I've seen them over and over. Bitcoin, when it crashed from, I don't know, 2018, it took like 2-3 years before it did a base and then broke out again. It's the same thing you have to expect right now.
Yes.
It's a long consolidation, drag down until people capitulate. And I don't think we're close to that at all.
Is it possible for Bitcoin to retrace the previous low in 2019? Because I've been getting all sorts of bearish calls. The lowest I've heard is 3.5K, the worst case scenario, which is actually even lower than the previous low. What do you think?
That low was possible because the base of volume of people was much lower back in the days. So the previous base, it went up and then it created that base. That low, look at this. This is volume profiling. This is how many transactions were at that price action. There's a lot of support at 12,000 for Bitcoin, a lot. So to start looking at 5,000 targets, those are like, you could flip it. It's like people saying it was going to 2 million when it was at 50,000 and gaining steam. People were looking at whatever crazy targets up. On the way down, the same thing, human emotions. But the chart is telling me 12,000. Of course, like some crazy event could like try to make it seep down through that, but it should bounce in all that area from 12,000 all the way to 5,000-6,000. It should really, really get support from there. So to look at 3,000, that's a target below the support that I see here. So I wouldn't even consider those targets until we get closes in the 4 digits there. It's like, that's too far. It's too far. The SPX divided by producer price index, or NASDAQ divided by producer price index, which is inflation, which there's money supply. And then after that, there's either growth stocks that if the environment is favorable for them, they'll get a chunk of that money supply. And if there's too much inflation, that those price to earnings, they shrink for whatever reason, that money is going to look into commodities, going to look gold, silver, etc. So right now there was a turn. There was actually a breakdown for SPX versus producer price index. So back in 2012, 20 or 19, when Bitcoin went crazy up, or it didn't stay like down for a long time, the SPX had not broken down versus the producer price index yet. That's a key element. Now it has. It's broken down versus producer price index, just like you mentioned it did in 2000 and 2001, just like it did in the early 70s, just like it did in the great crash of the Great Depression in 1930. So right now the whole game, the rules of the game have changed. So you got to expect longer capital flows leaving those growth instruments, and they're going to definitely underperform all the other hard assets, stuff that you could feel, right? You drop it on your toes, it hurts. Gold, silver, oil, uranium, all that. The flow is going to start going that. So crypto, definitely the rebound. To expect it to do a V-shaped recovery and go back to all-time highs in a timely fashion, man, it could be long. It could be as long as you said, 10, 12 years. We just don't know how long. But usually, look, I have projections here.
Please.
The US equities, this is the SPX versus producer price index. For us to have a capitulation low, it could be 2031 before we really bottom, before the SPX really bottoms versus inflation. It could be 2031, 2035, or 2041 if we repeat what happened in the Great Depression. So it could be a long time. And all these rallies, for me, they're bear market rallies in US equities, especially technology, growth stocks, all that. They're all bear market rallies until you see there's an early breakout line, until it's able to do a new high. Then the game is you got to sell those rips.
Okay.
But right now it's gonna try to find a bottom. So wherever it is, either capitulation bottom like those crazy targets at 3,000, but unlikely. It's probably gonna base in that 10K range, 10, 12, 8, 6, like stay like that for a long time, and until the SPX or the NASDAQ could get back those capital flows from commodities. It could be for the next 2-3 years, it could stay like that. There's probably going to be a violent rally in between that. And usually that's the one that doesn't make it back to all-time highs. So some strong rally that goes up, that's going to define the next swing high low. So we had the high at 65,000. then it swings. Maybe it's going to go, I don't know how high it's going to go. Let's say it goes to 35. It's going to create a swing low, but higher, lower. And if you could draw a trend line there, that's going to be the trend line that's going to tell you when to get back into Bitcoin. So it hasn't even done a swing high yet. So to start morphing that bottom pattern. So you got to let it go. And yes, it could definitely be at least a year, 2 years of sideways grind lower until it's able to start forming a base.
Despite the transitory slowdown effect and subsequent bear market phase, Bitcoin is a precious asset. No need to remind our viewers that Bitcoin has a set supply of only 21 million. About 92% of all Bitcoins have been mined already. Therefore, we are dealing with an asset with a minimal supply, but demand can expand exponentially, leading to dramatically higher prices in future years. The digital asset segment experienced a substantial downside during this bear market. While the ultimate bottom may not have been reached, we've come very close. Improved sentiment, increased popularity, higher adoption, limited supply, increased demand, historical trends, speculation, and other macroeconomic elements should drive Bitcoin's price substantially higher in future years. Bitcoin remains a volatile asset and is not suited for everyone. Numerous factors like increased government regulation, hacking, functionality issues such as speed, cost, and scale, fraudulent activity, and other detrimental elements could negatively impact Bitcoin's popularity and sentiment and affect its price. As with any investment, financial planners and other experts advise against letting Bitcoin's price fluctuations lead you to emotional decision-making. Studies have shown investors who invest regularly perform better over time, thanks to a strategy called dollar-cost averaging. It remains to be seen how Bitcoin's future will play out. The digital asset will certainly be worth a lot more than it is now several years down the line. We are very certain of that. What do you make of Karim interview? Please let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching.